What's up, my Buck fans out there? Happy Wednesday. It is the Bucks Report, the aftermath. You already know we got that Buck Talk going on. One of your hosts, AJ Turnup. We got my man, Coach Slick, the British guy who's always fly on standby and more than meets the eye. How you living?
I'm feeling good, baby. I'm enjoying these camp stories, just kind of getting a feel of what's shaking in the team. Great to hear about our rookies doing really, really well in the sense of Yaya Diaby. Obviously, we've had some bad news about Kancey, but it's not bad news. So it's up. We're on track. We're still on track. And then hearing about like Payne Durham's got himself a touchdown, and a few of the other guys have kind of stepped up. So it looks like Kobe Mock is the dude in that guard position. So it looks like the Buccaneers. You did say that we needed, and you're right, we needed at least 3 of these guys. 4 would be nice, but 3 of them had to be starting level players.
Absolutely. So yes, I remember because that for me, if you pick at least 7 people, for a lot of people out there who don't know the game of football, drafting is guessing. You can only pray that you can get half of your guys that will be potentially like at least 10-year players for your franchise, and that they're good. I love how people always think when you get like when they draft 7, they're all going to be home runs. No, it's a guess. You prayerfully, if you get 3 guys that are good, that's a hell of a draft. That's a hell of a draft right there for your franchise. Most people only get really 2 that are standouts, in my opinion. You have your 2, and I mean 2 starters off the break. You have some of the other guys who are good rotational players or good role players. But yes, I've heard a lot. Cody Mock has impressed me. Yaya as well. Then we had a little moment where Rachaad White got blasted by a rookie linebacker. Crazy. I know it was a catch-22 for that gentleman, because I know he wanted to stand out and make himself known, but at the same time, that is your starting back. You don't want to try to blast your teammate, especially the starter, and get him hurt, and then there goes our starter. Tough position for that young man. So if he's fired, it is what it is. But yes, it's a lot. So Buck fans, so sit tight and just sit back, get your beer, get your popcorn, get ready, because we got a lot to talk about with this mini camp stuff. Because I know you guys have been really on this QB competition. I'm just gonna let Slick take it away, because they've been talking about Trask and Baker, and Trask has done a little something, got a little buzz going on. But what is your thoughts on this, Coach Slick?
Well, it's interesting because we've been told when people drop nuggets of information, they don't give you the whole picture. And I'm not saying that. I mean, I've said from day one that I'd love Trask to win the job, because it means that we don't have to go hard in free agency after a free agent quarterback, in the sense of that we would have to re-sign Baker Mayfield, and he's going to want you're not going to sign him for 1 or 2 years. You're going to sign him. He's going to want a 3-year extension at bare minimum. So you're going to be tied to him for at least 2 to 3 years. And he ain't going to be cheap if he has a good season. So we've already discussed, we've seen what Geno Smith got. That is in the realm of possibility. But if the Buccaneers were to get some greatness out of Kyle Trask, then they have another year at looking at it. And if they really want to, they can slap a franchise tag on him if they absolutely have to. That means they get 3 years of looking at him before they really commit to him. So when we talk about, they said it's 4 picks to 1, right? That's the ratio of what's been told around camp. That seems to be the conversation. Now, the question I have is, were they versus the 1s? Were they versus the 2s? Were they playing with the ones or were they playing with the twos? Now, some people might say it might not matter. It matters to me because if you're throwing to somebody who isn't as playbook savvy, then you deserve to be burnt down for it. But if you're playing against the best of the team with the best of the team, then it's kind of a like for like of what you're going to see in a real season, because that's basically their best versus our best is kind of what we're going to get. So I'm always interested in these things and who had the most amount of snaps. So if you turn around and said, well, Kyle Trask had only one interception, and I'm not at camp, so I don't really know the shakeout of the snaps. But he's only in for like 30% of those snaps, and then Baker's got the rest of them. Then that's a bit of a different story. I mean, it shouldn't be that dwarfing difference of 4-1, but so it's little things like context I would like to find out first before I start crowning Trask as the chosen one. And by all means, I did hear that early in the camp during the OTAs, he was throwing 4 picks a practice. Mm-hmm. So now I believe he's gone his 3rd straight practice without a interception.
Yes, and I'm very happy for Trask. I'm happy for him. Just the simple fact that he hasn't been looked at as a wash, that he is making the best of his situation. That's what competitive players are supposed to do anyway. He's fighting for a chance. I wouldn't say to be a starter yet because Buck fans, despite what you guys think, Baker Mayfield is going to be your starting quarterback until further notice or injury or anything of that nature. But Trask is putting up a fight. He's getting better. I just want Buck fans to just slow your roll, because what Slick has just told you guys is there is a difference when you're throwing in against scrubs or you're not getting that. It all changes because the level of competition. But also, I keep telling I said this, so if you guys want to check out the on Monday's podcast, I broke the spiel down of what kind of quarterback Baker Mayfield is. So please check that out if you like. But Baker Mayfield is a situational in-game type of player. When the lights come on, that's when he's ready. He might not have the best OTAs. He might not have the best practices. But for a guy like Baker, he's like, okay, when the game is on, then I'll be on. We don't know what Trask is yet. Now we'll see if he gets that opportunity. But right now, I've seen enough of Baker over the years. He's a guy who plays when the game is on. He's not going to be perfect in practice. That's just not who he is. Except if you can accept that, then you'll be fine. But as of right now, I do appreciate the QB competition. Because one, I like that Canales is making these guys work for it. This is why it's always good to make your players compete. Because if Trask was just given the position, we might not see the Trask that everybody was seeing for the past day. He might have just said, "Damn it, I got the position." So even if I look miserable, it's mine.
I agree. I mean, like I said, I think that I agree with you. I think in the end, unless he has a disastrous camp and a disastrous preseason, and I mean that it's visually obvious to the standard fan that Baker isn't as good as Kyle Trask, then that's when it will be Kyle Trask. It has to be like that obvious. Yeah, if it's subtle, yes, they'll go with him because experience. He's led games. He's led a team into battle. That will come. If he starts to suck by week 2, wouldn't be surprised if they just pump the brakes and throw Trask in, because when a lot of people talk about tanking for players and stuff like that, if the Buccaneers feel like they can't win with Baker, then let's have a look at see what Trask can do, because you're in no rush at this point in time. It's not critical anymore because you know that the one guy can't do it, so you may as well check what the other guy can do and then make a decision based on that. But yes. I mean, I'm pleased for Trask, and I hope he keeps it up. I do agree with you that Baker Mayfield is more of a lights-on kind of guy. But I think when it comes to the preseason games, and we've got our first one coming up next Friday, so the Buccaneers will be on show, and it'd be interesting to see how much of the snap amounts that those two will get. it's in those games that I think the battle might be won or lost, because I would normally say it's going to be in camp and in the joint practices, but it's going to be also when the lights come on, and that's the true representation of when the lights come on.
I agree. You want it. Well, first, let's give a shout out to people who are watching. Bush _18. How you doing, sir? I actually like your his image. That's dope. And Sean, always, Sean, what's good, man? Thank you, man. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys check him out, Sean Spencer is a hell of a person too. We love talking football. He is a Commodore fan. I'm sorry, a Commander fan. But hopefully,
Let's Talk Football. So go check his Let's Talk Football out.
That's right. I want to get to what you were saying though. Slick, you have a good point about if. Here's another thing. I'll go even further with what you said. If Baker is playing like complete dog shit, but the defense is playing elite and lights out, and we lose because of Baker, then you're right. They're gonna go, okay, we're pulling the plug. Let's say if the Bucs, their 2 first games, they lose by like 6 each game, like less than a touchdown, and all Baker
killing you.
Yeah, and Baker's killing you. You are right. They'll pull the plug quick because if Bowles sees, okay, my defense is fine. Canales, we gotta see what this guy Trask can do, because you said it, you can't get any worse. I think
you can, but you
can't. That would be the best case scenario.
The end result, like it can be worse. The end result's gonna be the same. It's gonna be wins and losses, because who gives a shit if you lost? Wow.
Right.
Oh, we played so well. We played to the last fucking second and we lost the game. So it's the same as if you got blown out by 50. It's just more respectable. That's all it is.
Exactly. That's what it's gonna be like. If he is just to the point where, you know what, we can't do this with him, and Trask comes in, then that's where we'll see him. But for right now, I do like that you said that. He would have to be extremely poor. I think the 3rd preseason game we'll see it, because typically around that time, that's when the starters get their 2 quarters in, and I like to see where their head is at. That's how I usually like to look at the season. Where are these guys' heads at? If I see that they got a spark going, the thing that I would like to see especially 3rd preseason, I want to see this offense put up at least, whoever we play in one half, give me 17 points. Give me 17 points, and then I will be totally satisfied. Rest your guys and get ready for September. That's what I want.
I think the thing that I find quite interesting about the preseason games is, obviously with you not making a quarterback decision, that means how are they going to like sort out the snaps? So, and this is what I find quite intriguing, is both Kyle and, in all fairness, Kyle and Baker both need to have a certain amount of reps with the ones. So are you going to make the ones stay out longer, which means you could put them at injury risk? So if you're going to, let's say first preseason game, they both, is traditionally, I believe it's like a drive or 2. Let's say you give them each 2 drives. That could be the entirety of the first quarter. The ones are out there. And then let's say in the second quarter, both of them have an equal shot with the 2s. And then the fourth, the last 2 quarters you give to the backup. I can't remember his name, but he's actually having a decent camp too. He's been throwing a few touchdowns too. So, but of course that's against 2s and 3s. So
exactly.
It's not the
streets. Yeah, he throwing against.
Absolutely. I mean, look,
I know what you're saying. I think that it would work that way. I don't see the offense in the first preseason. I see them coming out for maybe three series, and then they're out. And it should be that way. 3 series, you're out, but you're right. I do want to see what but I also like seeing quarterbacks. I want to see Baker play with the first and second, and the same for Trask. Like you said, give them a fair shot, because last
year, 2 to 1, 1 to the other one, and then you give, let's say Kyle, you give him, for the sake of argument, whoever's kind of winning the job at the time. Let's go. Baker's going to get 2 with the first. Then Kyle gets 1 with the first, and then 2 to 3 with the seconds, and then Baker would come back in with a drive or 2 with the seconds, and then we go to our guy.
Absolutely, and that's how you do it. Well, another thing is too, you're giving your other guys who are fighting for a position a chance. In practice, Trask, everybody's been talking about it, where he threw a pass, and no, I think that was Baker, but Tompkins made a spectacular catch.
40 yard, 40
Yes,
yard, 40 yard from Baker.
that was a very spectacular catch, and I honestly think if last season Brady kept Scotty because he has a better repertoire, but last season in OTAs, Tompkins outplayed Scotty. From what I remember, he was outplaying him.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a preseason, the people wanted Tompkins, right?
Yes.
I mean, I turn around. I remember doing shows back then and saying, "I get you, and I can see where you're coming from, but how many throws has Devin Tompkins had from Tom Brady?" And the answer, there's going to be some, because obviously there's days and days of practice, but there aren't many.
No.
And when the game's on the line, who is Tom Brady going to trust? He's going to trust that guy. So
yeah, because they have a repertoire.
Tompkins. In the end, it prevailed and everything turned out great. And Tompkins turned out to be a good. Is it Tompkins that turned out to be the good punt returner as well?
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was the punt returner.
There's Jarrett's. Jarrett Stidham, is it?
I don't quote me on that. I'll go back and check. But I think Tompkins has the potential to get a spot on the roster. I like for me personally to have 5 to 6 receivers on the roster. You know me, I love my spread offense and I love my receivers. So I like to do that because one, I like the rotation. I like to rotate my receivers, and I want to always, as you talk about quarterbacks.
Can't they?
What's up?
Pardon me. They can all offer different things.
Yeah, exactly. They offer different things, and they can offer different things, and that pisses off and frustrates a defense like crazy, because when you don't have enough film on one guy, now you have to go out there and play a conservative coverage where that guy.
And we see this all the time. That fantasy guy, you know the paid fantasy games you get, and they'll have a price tag for every player. There's always one player that has like not a zero price tag, but it's super cheap, and that's how you win in the paid fantasy, because obviously you don't go against anyone, you go against everyone. And whoever the highest combined score is the dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you win, is by picking a couple of guys who are cheap as chips, as we say in England, and they have like a day where they are just the stud. They walk away with like 100 something yards and 2 touchdowns or something, and they're a guy who's expected to get like less than 20 yards.
Yeah, you always got to get somebody who can go against the odds. And that's what Tompkins can be, a guy that can go against the odds, and he can bring a spark to the offense. Hell, he might surpass certain guys. So I want to see that. I want to see more players get their shot. We were also talking about we were mentioning Cody Mock. He's having a good camp. What do you think he would be, the right tackle, or would they put him at the guard?
I've been told that he's right guard.
Right guard. Okay.
He has not moved, and no one else has replaced him. So he stayed in all the time at right guard.
And Gedeke is going to be, now that is going to be.
Gedeke is going to be. It's been seen as
that right there, ladies and gentlemen, Buck fans. I know we saw a lot of Gedeke last season. We were all vomiting. Now I'm going to go on a limb, because from what didn't he play tackle in college?
He played left tackle in college.
Now here's my thing. Now this I'm putting faith in you, Gedeke. Don't let me down. What if he plays good at the right tackle position? What if that all of a sudden, because he's familiar with that position, he just flat out balls? Now that right there, a lot of people, now let's say if he has an average to above average season, a lot of you Buck fans are going to be owing him an apology, because Slick and I we did talk about the fact that despite him looking shitty last season, he was playing a position that he was not familiar with. And for a lot of football people out there, your offensive line position, they all are different in their own ways. You can't expect a guy who is used to playing a tackle to become a guard. That's not realistic.
I also agree with this. I also agree with this, and I think the thing that people seem to have a problem with is our management in Jason Light. They like to take guards and interior offensive linemen from small schools and different and smaller division schools, so Div 2, Div 3, right?
Yes.
And everyone assumes every time we take one, who they're going to be?
Ali Marpet. Yes.
Exactly. You're not going to get him. Ali Marpet is a once in a generation kind of dude. You won't see another guy, maybe not a generation, but once in every few years.
Generation. That is a generation. He was an elite guard. After
I'm just saying there's probably like maybe a couple more of them, but
not that many.
And that's what I'm trying to say is like,
yes, like you're right.
But at the same time, it's like you can't expect every guy that we're going to draft from Div 2 or Div 3 to be an absolute fucking stud, because they're used to kicking the shit out of people because they're in smaller division.
Yes,
it's like my team's in Div 1, right? Let's say, for the sake of argument, we have a great Div 1 season and we make the playoffs and we win and we get a ring. We're all like, yeah. Now we're going to the Premier Division, which is our creme de la creme. And we get the shit knocked out of us because we aren't that fucking level. You put Cody Mock in, and this is why the Senior Bowl and all those little, like the NFL APL Bowl or whatever it's called, and a couple of the others like the Reese's Senior Bowl and all those little bowl games they have. That's why they're in attendance, because they want to see elite level players play against small school players and go, this guy has something, and that's why they're drafted maximum second round and lower. No one's going to go high on them because there's still a bust. There's a big bust ratio on it.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. That's like a middleweight who is dominating in his position. I give you a perfect example. Roy Jones dominated the shit out of the middleweight, arguably one of the top 3 greatest middleweight boxers of all time. What happened when he went to the heavyweight? He was getting his ass knocked around silly. There's levels to this shit. Like you said, a lineman at a D3 school his biggest competition might have come from Youngstown University or some shit. And then when they play guys who played at Alabama or played at Miami, Florida, or some shit like that.
How do they react when they play against a Miami?
Yes,
because you got to understand that the dude from Miami, the pass rusher from Miami, isn't going to these bowl games. He's sitting out because he doesn't need to. Yes. So you're getting his backup or the guy who wasn't quite as good as him, but they're still Div 1. Like, this guy still made 4 sacks in his season or 5 sacks in his season, and is arguably, maybe he was a 3rd All-American or something like that. But that's what they want to see. They want to see how are you going to handle bigger school people. And then they're going to look at the games that they played if they made the playoff, not made the playoff, sorry, if they made a bowl game or what have you. That's what I'm looking at. Like, how when your team went against adversity and they went against a better team, like would completely outgun them, how did you do? And if you did your job and they can say that cat did his job when everything else was shit around him, this dude did his job and then some. That's when they go, then we got somebody.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why they pick smaller schools, because those guys typically try to be hungrier because they are aware I didn't play at this level, so I have a chip on my shoulder. Because just because people went to certain schools like that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where they were skillfully, and it's vice versa at D1 schools. We've seen plenty of guys who look like they were the shit in college and they get in the NFL and it's like, well, damn, you suck, you're terrible. It happens all the time. It's all about the mindset and the will of the player. So that's why. But a lot of our Buck fans, that Marpet sticks with us forever because we're like, shit.
He was a stud.
He was a stud. And Cody Mock, I think we want that, and we sense that, and we want that. We really want that because from what I can see, though, Cody is giving me hope. Do I think he'll struggle in the beginning? Absolutely. When he gets faces a true pass rushing or a run defensive unit, he's gonna have his growing pains. So Buck fans, do not expect Cody Mock to just come out of here to just be this. We can't have Tristan Wirfs either. The Tristan Wirfs of the world are once in a generation as well. Now I can say that, and that's not no cap on that. Wirfs is a one of a kind. You the only guy to ever really get the best of him at his time was a premier pass rusher in Khalil Mack. That's a hell of a thing to say on your resume. I got beat by a premier guy of his time. Everybody else, I've dogged. Your Cameron Jordans of the world, I dogged him. Anybody else, your Bosa, I dogged him.
Yeah.
Nobody else. It's not that many people. And I thank you for that, Sean. Yeah, I wanted him so bad in the draft. I wanted y'all corner, so we're even. Y'all pissed me off. I wanted that corner y'all got in the first round. Sean know who I'm talking about. That pissed me off something serious. I was like, damn. But that's cool. Yeah, he can. But with his size,
in the NFL, it's different.
Yeah,
Like,
I want him. I'm more comfortable with him being the guard, as you said. You took the words out of my mouth. Like, thank you. It's not that simple because you got guys out there who will dominate, and like right now, Hayward from the Steelers. I would not want Mock going up against him. I wouldn't want him to go against Jones on the Chiefs. I not yet. I want him to get himself ready. But yes, I am excited about this. And you were right. You're right. I think Yaya is going to be the guy that takes JTS's job because I haven't heard.
I agree. I think he is the JTS that we wanted.
Yes. Now JTS, don't get it wrong.
This is the JTS you're looking for.
Yes, and JTS. Hey, I appreciate you, but if he's a
rotational piece, he's a rotational piece, and that's absolutely fine.
Yes,
we still need a rotational piece, and you know what? He might be more effective as a rotational piece where you've had like Yaya's beating them with power, and this guy's like, for Jesus Christ, and then he's loses wind. Then you put this guy who's quick because he is quick. Like, no, you can't deny it. He is quick. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, the guy's just literally, oh my God, I can't keep up with this.
Mm-hmm.
And that quick turn of pace that.
I always like to use strength first and then your speed, because for me, when you're mental, like Yaya is like you said, he's got the body and frame where like a lineman is like, shit, I'm bruised, my arms hurt, my knees are knocking because I got to keep my strength off him, and he might be successful, but now JTS comes in. Oh shit! Now I'm so bruised because of this Yaya fucking guy. I can't move. Quarterback, like, what the hell? I'm sore.
Muscle memory. When you're learning stuff, you're like, okay. When you have a guy who comes inside, you do this, this, and this, and you have that so many times. That's why double moves work, or people who can, roll their hip, flip their hips. People who can, the spin move's so effective. It's because you've been given one look all the fucking time. It's why people bite on play action. Every fucking dude who plays football, from every linebacker in ball right now at the NFL level, can read their run pass read. I teach shoulder tip of guard through to the back, right?
Right.
In the NFL, it's a little bit more advanced than that. But you can see balls up, and then balls taken away. Oh, it's play action. It's not a fucking run. But time and time again, you see people bite on play action. Why? Because it's muscle. It's part of muscle memory. It's showing you something, and then if you're struggling, especially when you're struggling against the run, that's why play action does work really well. There are other ways to use it, but why it works really well against a team that's given up a lot on the run, because they don't want to give up any more on the run, so they'll bite hard on it. The corners will bite when they shouldn't bite because they're not run first defenders. The safeties will bite, and the safeties, if you got two safeties, they're not run first defenders. Maybe the strong safety is, and then they bite. Oh look, this guy's fucking shooting forward, and at the NFL level, all it takes is 1 foot wrong, and you have someone who's got 4.3, 4.4 speed.
It's lights out. Yeah, it's over.
It could be done. Your best bet is the quarterback doesn't have him as a primary read, and he's looking at the other side of the field. And by the time he realizes him, you caught up back up to him.
Exactly, and that's why for JTS, I think his starting days are numbered. I think Yaya has a lot more to offer, but as you said, that is not a bad thing because Yaya with JTS, if he's a great rotational player, that keeps people like Yaya healthy as well. That means he doesn't have to get out there on a critical situation where it's like, oh shit, but I'm tired, coach. JTS can do something, and then even if JTS starts to get hot, if he gets hot, keep him in, or if he does his purpose, put Yaya back in. Now that guy's like shit because now if they have to double that side, then someone else, your Shaq Barrett, when he gets back, can take advantage. Your Canceys and your Vita Veas. And speaking of the Canceys, I know that people were very concerned. I'm actually thankful that it happened sooner than later because I would have hate him to be out. I want him ready. And I said this on the last aftermath this past Monday. I want him to be ready for the actual NFL game. I want him to be healthy enough to focus. Now, if I'm the Bucs, slowly get him in. Do not make him get so many snaps. Let's take our time. Let's see what we have. This is just a small calf strain, but let's take precaution.
And there's some depth here, so why not just have a look at it and see if you've got 4 starting linemen and we play 3-4. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then you've got rotation there, and it's just a good thing to have. Look, talking about do you want to know who got the picks of the most recent camps?
Okay,
so Vasquez Dennis has 2. Winfield has 1. Nolan Turner has 1. Zion McCullen has 1, and Yaya Diaby has 1. So he's not just a one-trick pony.
He can pick you off.
I mean, you can drop in a coverage. That is a good thing. This is something that allows you to have so much more creativity if you have a pass rusher that can actually drop back into pass. Now, I have not seen the interception per se, so I don't know if it's a sexy one or it was just it just happened. It was a bouncy ball and he caught it or whatever. But the point being is he's obviously been around a ball to catch it. So I'm hoping there's a bit of versatility coming on here because that allows you to do so much more with your scheme if you've got 2 outside linebackers that can play more closer to akin to a true outside linebacker. Like I'm not saying exactly like Derek Brooks, but like outside linebackers in a 4-3 would play, in a 4-3 would play, then it gives you a little bit more skill set to play with.
I agree.
You don't know who's dropping into fucking coverage. You have no idea who's dropping into coverage if they can do that.
No, you're right. I think I just want Yaya to fill the void that JPP left. Because JPP was that guy who could drop in the coverage. Was he?
He definitely could.
But he did his job. And as you said, if Yaya can be a multi-threat, now the offense has to keep that in mind. Now your offensive opponents, and what perfect person to start on than Kirk Cousins? I think when we play the Vikings, that is the perfect quarterback you want in this situation. Because Kirk might not expect that he could get back so fast, and now I'm just going to dump this over him. And next thing
you show the blitz, so you start the beginnings of a blitz.
Yep.
And then you drop. Because what's the big thing that all quarterbacks are taught? Throw where the pressure's coming because they don't have anyone behind it.
Exactly. And then Yaya backs his ass up because he has just enough speed and picked off. And he's quick for a big guy. So I don't see Kirk Cousins trying to run and tackle that guy.
When it's a shallow pass that's intercepted, they're usually the ones that are 6. The ones that go deep don't get 6 that often.
No.
That takes some creativity and blocking and luck and laziness from the offense of not being switched on enough. And good running from the guy who intercepted the ball. But generally, balls thrown deep don't always come back for a 6. It's usually those the flats.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's what and that's why this is the perfect team to play because they also don't have a Dalvin Cook anymore. They're going to be vulnerable. So for the run, I'm telling the Bucs, load the damn box up. Make Kirk Cousins beat us with his arm. I want to see that because now, you have no Dalvin Cook. I dare you to run this ball. I dare you to run this ball with Vita Vea, chomping with Shaq Barrett or Yaya. And hell,
Will
let
Ghost,
Will Ghostin let Winfield ease up in the box.
Greg.
Yeah, now you don't have shit. So this is a prime. That game will be very critical on what the Bucs defense should do to a team. I'm not worried about Justin Jefferson. I'm not. I like him. He's doing great, but
You know what? I would worry about him if they had all the other weapons that they had.
Yeah, Thielen's gone.
And that is a two-punch combo. It'd be interesting to see what he. It'd be interesting to see Justin. I'm not saying that his entire product is on the field is due to Adam Thielen, because Adam Thielen was a dude for a few years.
Yes,
he really was. For one of those white boy wide receivers, he was one of the best. But the problem is, now that he's gone, you don't have that immediate threat. So when people are writing their scout, Adam Thielen can be a problem because he has been a 1,000-yard receiver. He has caught more than X amount of touchdowns. So he is in the ballpark of respect.
Yes.
Now he's not there. Someone else has to pick up his role, who probably isn't quite as good as him, which means you can get away with doubling Justin Jefferson. And don't get me wrong, Justin Jefferson will get his, but it's a lot harder when you're being doubled.
Yes, it's a lot harder, and when your quarterback doesn't like to throw under duress. That's one thing that we used to pride Brady off. He knew how to pick you apart, and more than that, he didn't have to go to the primary guy. Kirk is not that guy, and we'll see if Justin gets off, because I have faith. If you put Carlton and Winfield doubling him, I don't see much happening for that, because those two are very good at coverage. And if Kirk forces it, Winfield will get a pick six, or Winfield will get an interception. So now, and Justin Jefferson is a home run hitter type of receiver. He wants to get the big dog catches. He's not going to always just settle for short stuff, because now you're slowing now they're changing their whole offense out. So I want to see this. This will be a good challenge for this Bucs defense. I want to see if they can stay healthy. What are you going to do? And for Kancey, let's see what he can do in a pass rush. I'm really expecting it. Now, do you think that they will put him in your opinion, Slick? Are they going to put him in the beginning for run plays or be a pass rusher?
I think they'll just spot him, and what play will happen. I think that's the best way to play it, because predicting obvious passing and rushing touchdowns, rushing downs against a team that you don't 100% know very well is going to be difficult anyway. I think you just put him in. Put him in, see how he suits up, because that unfamiliarity is always a good thing to really know if a player's reading what they're reading. Yes. Going through everything that they're doing. Like, there's one thing I always like to do when I do my drills, right? To bring this back, always try to bring this back to coaching if I can, is I'll turn around to the guys and say to them, right, today we're going to do hitches. So we'll run hitch. Eventually, guess what they're doing? They're playing the hitch before it happens.
Yeah.
They're not reading the hitch. They're playing what they know is going to happen. So then I turn around to the wide receivers, and now we're going to mix it up. We're going to do deeps.
Yeah.
Deep. What do? They all hit the deep. I don't tell them, but I tell the wide receiver, we're mixing it up. You're going to run a hitch this time. Next time you're going to run this, and the next time you run that, and next time. So they have to read. When they get caught, you weren't reading, were you? Don't cheat my drill.
Facts. And
then if I want to add another layer to that, I'll add a run. So what I'll do is I'll say, right, every time you guys come out, and I'm a firm believer in this, I want to hear pass or run the moment you see it. If I don't hear it, it didn't happen. And you failed. So I'll give them a run pass read. So they can't cheat the drill.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so easy to do. If you know that it's going to be a hitch every single day, it doesn't matter who you are. You're going to make a decent play, because you can just stand still.
Yep.
Just put your feet are lazily backwards, because obviously you've got to give the impression that you're going through your read steps, right?
Right.
But you just kind of staggery, got the motherfucker,
Yes.
So, and that's what one I try to do is we have two guys who are going to be the hitchers. The guy goes back, and I just stand there straight, and as soon as I turn, I throw the ball. Then they react. So they don't know which one of my hitch guys is going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I stay middle, then I get it. And we do that for the deeps. So I call it zone discipline. So you just send 2 guys deep and you just stare down the middle. As soon as you stare at one, that's when they buckle, they move their coverage over and they pick the ball off.
I agree. And you know who another player, because I just want Kancey to play healthy, but if he another guy that I'm looking to see if he's going to improve is Logan Hall. I want to know what he's going to be able to do. And do they have him down as a D end or a tackle or or D tackle?
Who's that? Sorry,
Logan Hall. The
I believe he's a D tackle.
I want to see what
he'll play. He'll probably, that means he'll probably play anywhere on the line if needed. So yes. I think he'll be used in their 4 look, their 4 down lineman look, when they're probably, I would guess when you're a 4-3, most teams when they're a free, when you're a 4-3, when you're backed up into your end zone, you become a 5. So you have 5 down linemen. 3-4 teams tends to become 4s. So he would be, basically they will go to like a traditional free tech, a nose tackle, and then 2 ends.
Yeah,
you get me. So,
I get.
And then they'll probably dime back it. So you take one of the
Well, I want to
keep the pass rushes in.
Yeah, I need to see some improvement from him because I didn't see a lot to make me. Yeah, I got to see what he can do, and the vibe that I get from him, it looks like he has potential not to be a starter, but to be a good rotational player. So I want to see more consistency from especially from the line. I like the fact again that we said Golston is back. He brings the run stopping stability, stability. With that being said, when we play the Vikings, I'd say at the beginning, play that run and make Kirk beat you. That is what we want to see. And then on the offensive side, I want to see the ball ran. I want to see some good running, not predictable running. I want to see if this line will be effective. I honestly would start out the line being run first, just to see if we can get momentum, and then we get the bootlegs going. I want to see with how Canales is going to design our running game. That's my pick.
Just to reiterate on what we spoke about earlier, it was our dude, Mr. Devin Tompkins, that took over from Scotty Miller, and then he also took Jalen Darden's job in kick return.
Oh, Jalen Darden, the guy that people we love to hate because even though he had an average season, we were.
He wasn't a bad. He wasn't a bad punt returner. The problem was he played like he was scared to get hurt, and when Devin Tompkins went in, he was diving to get extra yards.
As we
see, people on the optics respect that because it's like I'm going to get every yard I can for my team. And sometimes diving on the floor with the ball in front of you, I get it if you've got a bunch of linemen in front, a bunch of big dudes in front of you, but when you got no one in front of you and you're still basically, I wouldn't say taking a knee, but like running out of bounds, run out of bounds and get as much as you can. You're not going to be used in the receiving game, so more than likely, yeah?
Right.
And what sets up players to play their regular position? Good plays on special teams.
Yes.
This guy wants it. I'm going to reward him by giving him snaps with the regulars.
I agree.
On offense and defense, right?
And it makes you hungrier. But we got our first troll of the night, and I love it. We have Mr. Cheesehead 1515. How much do you think the Bucs will lose by when they play Green Bay?
With who at their quarterback?
That's my big thing. Cheesehead. Who is your quarterback, and do you guys what direction are you guys going?
You got to stop your run game because you ain't throwing to nobody. Do you even have any wide receivers on your team anymore? Didn't they all go to the Jets?
I just now
you got David Lewis, who's old as shit, and he will block the snot out of someone. Oh yeah. I completely agree with you. But at least Baker's won games. You have a quarterback winning one shit.
That's right. And
sorry. He won a game. Did he? I'll have to look. I need to look this up.
No, he did. He was Baker was on the Browns.
Not Baker. I'm talking about
oh no, Jordan Love. Jordan Love. No, Jordan Love. Look, Mr. Chief.
I'm sure there's one game that he went in that someone like Aaron Rodgers got crucified in, and he went in and finished the game. During COVID, there was a game that he was out. I can't remember if they won it, but he wasn't the reason they won it. It was nowhere near the reason he won it. So at least we got a quarterback that's won games. You have like by himself, won a playoff game. So there's that.
And with that, the Bucs also have a much better team. You guys
have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
Yeah, and that's just on offense. Defense, you don't even want to touch. There's no one on the green.
You got Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, give me somebody cheesehead on your defense. That is a Levante David-esque type of player.
I'll give more respect to their defense than I would their offense, but at the same time,
even with their defense, they have no household name guys that I go.
No, they have got a very good defense. I'll give their defense.
Look, because
I think their defense it's kudos, but its offense has nothing.
That's true.
It has a running back, and what are the Buccaneers set up to stop? A run game. So,
Devondre Campbell, you're naming guys that only Packer fans know. Everybody, Rashawn, you're naming people. Yeah, Rashawn. Nobody outside of Green Bay gives a damn about. Ain't worried about no Rashawn Gary or no Devondre Campbell. Now, despite the Bucs getting the bad,
you got an offense. Who's gonna score points for you? Because
and I love it.
Ain't gonna be your running back.
Yeah, Levante David. A lot of people in the league know. Vita Vea. A lot of people in the league knows. Antoine Winfield, a lot of people in the league knows.
I'm not even worried about that. I know all those names, and they're all really talented players. And I agree. The Green Bay defense is a good defense, but you need to. That's it. That is your entire team right there, thrown by a guy who hasn't won a game yet. And that's my point. Don't get me wrong. I'll give you your respect. I don't give a fuck. No one cares about your duo. It doesn't matter. This team is built to stop the run.
Right. And you don't have the best.
Derrick Henry didn't barely got 100 yards against us. And we're going to stop your run game.
And my God, the best duo.
Christian needs to be throwing the ball every 10 seconds because you ain't got no chance.
Best duo in the league also is in Cleveland. What you talking about? Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb? By far.
Not there anymore, is he?
Yeah, who else is there? Oh, when they were, but nobody. Again, you do not have the best. Your running backs in Green Bay are good, but not great. Like, stop it! Stop! Come on, man! Stop! Again, we have a troller. This is fun.
I'll tell you who's got the best. I'll be honest, and I didn't realize this until today. So, who's got the best running back duo in the league?
Saints. The Saints.
Saints. Jamal Williams got 14 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. They got Kamara as well. I mean, if they get both on the field at the same time, that might be a problem. But
Kamara's about to be suspended.
Yeah, for sure. But my point being is, if you're going to look at someone who's got the best, you've got two guys who are 1,000-yard rushers, and they get high volume interception. That is definitely a team that's got the best. But that doesn't matter because we're built to stop the run.
And with that being said, we're gonna get back to Cheesehead for a second. Your Green Bay Packers, dog. Y'all about to have some dark years. It's okay. And the funny thing is, you had two asshole quarterbacks who follow the same path. Favre leaves the Packers and goes to the Jets. So what's gonna happen next season? Are we gonna be seeing Aaron Rodgers in Minnesota? Now that would be funny. I'm just saying. Favre and Rodgers both are following the same blueprint. Favre leaves Green Bay, goes to New York. Now Aaron Rodgers goes to New York, to the Jets.
Who's gonna win the NFC North?
It's gonna be Detroit, and the reason why
who's gonna be second in the NFC North?
Minnesota.
Who's gonna be third in the NFC North?
The Bears.
Who's gonna be fourth in the NFC North?
Green Bay. Green Bay. Yeah, you guys. Y'all don't.
Hey,
and again,
I love it. We were probably like we've all been like this at some point. So I respect the shit out of it. You enjoy your time, bro. Delusion's a great thing. We've all been there.
Look,
James Winston is probably this year. But I believe in my defense, and y'all ain't got a chance.
No, not at all. First, y'all got to make it out of your division, and you're not, because the thing is, offensively, you have no direction. And don't get it twisted. The Bucs were like that 6-7 years ago. So I'm not here to say that my organization was perfect, because I was pissed. But when you honestly, it's like, you notice when you're a coach, when your team doesn't have a direction, that is what sets franchises back sometimes 5 to 7 years, because you don't know what you're going to do. And that's how great talent players will say, well, I got to get the hell up out of here. That's why we are so appreciative of Evans. Evans, after the Winston era, could have said, fuck this. I'm going to go. When he had that 1,500-yard season in 2016, he could have said, oh, okay, trade me and get me the hell out of here. I need to go somewhere where I'm going to be appreciated more.
AJ, this Christian Watson dude, how many yards do you think he got last year?
I know he didn't get 1,000.
He didn't.
I think he got like 850 or something.
611.
Oh shit! I was.
The touchdowns are more impressive. You got 7, but if that's your best offensive player that's from the past, you got bigger problems, bub. You got bigger problems. Like, for me, I wouldn't even say he's a number 2 yet. He missed 7 weeks. Oh, okay, fair enough. But
hey, injuries happen all the time. So
and at the end of he led all the rookies in touchdown. Well, that's just flipping marvelous. However, he was unavailable, and the best ability is availability. So, brother, I hope he stays healthy for you, but you're going to have a blind man throw into him, so he's probably not going to get those kind. That was when he had an MVP thrown into him. He ain't going to have no MVP thrown to him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
you got no Randall Cobb, who no Alan Lazard to take the pressure on. He's going to have to be the stud. You've just removed around anyone that Aaron Rodgers used to trust, and you're going, this guy's going to get the job done. Hey, more power to you, brother. Delusion's
and
great.
more than likely, your offense is going to be predicated on being run first, because they know the quarterback situation. So it's like they're going to
have to be because
yeah. You just got to get ready for a long season, my man. And nothing wrong with that. We've had to deal with that as well. But and you got to get through your division. But yeah, back to the Bucs. I'm glad we brought that up, because when people say that about Baker, he's out of all the quarterbacks in the NFC South, he's the only one with a playoff win. Derek Carr ain't getting no wins.
Nope.
He ain't getting no wins. And you know, I think a lot of people don't realize the Taints, they don't have the offensive powerhouse firepower that they used to have. Olive is good, but he's still got to get in the repertoire with Derek Carr. And going from Devontae Adams to Chris Olive, that's a big downgrade. Let's keep it real. That's a big downgrade. So we don't know. And again, Kamara, he about to get I hope he at least is out 6 games. And their defense is getting old. So all this talk about the Taints, the Taints being a playoff team, it's like, where are y'all getting this from? Derek Carr, y'all acting like that it was Aaron Rodgers that went to the Saints. It's Derek Carr. Derek Carr is Derek Carr. So
yeah, the thing is, Derek Carr couldn't get it done with arguably one of the best tight ends in the game at the time, and in Darren Waller, and his best buddy
Devontae,
and the leading rusher. So he had one of the best tight ends, had one of the best wide receivers. I remember one thing they always used to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers: they got great triplets. And the triplet was Le'Veon Bell, Big Ben, Antonio Brown.
Yep.
Well, he didn't have a triplet. He had a quadruplet. It was him, Adams, Waller, and
Renfro.
No, the running back.
Oh, Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs. He had a quadruplet.
But he also had Renfro. Renfro wasn't.
Renfro's not like a 1,000-yard guy who scores lots of touchdowns, but he is good at what he does.
Yeah.
But that's what I meant. These are super. He had a stud at every position except for offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Couldn't get it done. he was benched by the team and they decided they didn't want him. Now, I like Derek Carr, I really do, but I don't like him now he's going to Saints.
You're right. Well, I'm not impressed. Of course, the media
wants skyliner on. Fuck
yeah, it's just I don't like the fact that, as you said, the way that the media at first were talking about Carr, like he got benched by his own team and they let him go. Now that he's with the Saints, oh, he's gonna be the next Drew Brees or some shit. Stop it, cut it out. No. I think Carr will have a good season, but a good season will still probably be like 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, but I still think he'll throw about 13 picks.
I don't think he'll have that either. I think he'll be 24 touchdowns and he'll be about 12 picks.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
I remember the 4,000 yards because that's kind of a given these days.
That's what I'm saying. I give him the 4,000, and he's a good quarterback, but not with this team. Now, if he was in the position where he was going to a team that was stacked like the Bucs, that would be a completely different story. But he's not. And a lot of people still don't forget that this Bucs team is young relatively. I mean, they're getting, they're not old. So the Bucs have a chance again in the NFC. We already know, we've talked about this, is not strong these days. So anybody, you got Philly, you got Dallas, and you got the 49ers. That's it. And we already know 49ers is just always an injury away from maybe next season.
Well, so apparently Trey Lance has had a couple of bad practices where people have just been like, how is this guy an NFL quarterback?
Oh, shit. I didn't know that. Oh, God. Trey, please, you better get your shit together. They were already talking about you might not even be on the team if old boy could come back playing right. But with all that being said, this is why when people talk about the NFC is really, they should call it anybody's game. That is the division. This is the conference we basically are in. Anybody. Eagles, again, we never wish harm on anybody, but Hurts, this is why he has to play quarterback very carefully, because if he continues to run and God forbid he gets hurt, that's the Eagles season. They're done. They are finished. In a nutshell, they're done. The Bucs have a legit shot, not to be Super Bowl contenders, but we have a legit shot to make it deep into the playoffs. Not the Packers. The Packers, I see the Packers going 5-12. 5-12. 5-12. 5-12. I see. Yeah, 5-12. I see the Bears going at like 7-10. I see Minnesota. They'll be 10-7, and I can see Detroit being 11-6.
You think it's going to be a real Titanic battle towards the end? Then?
Yeah, it'll be, because Minnesota is that team where one day they can show they are the embodiment of Kirk Cousins. One day he can show up, and then the next day he won't. But
yeah,
I do think that. But yeah, the NFC North is but the Green Bay, I'm not worried about Green Bay at all. Hell, by the time we play Green Bay, the Bucs should beat their asses by at least 17. It shouldn't be a close game. And that's and another game that I want the Bucs just to win, just real good, is the game when we play Detroit, when we wear our throwbacks, when we rocking these right here, when we're rocking this green sickle. Damn it, because that's the old NFC Central rivalry. Buccaneers, I need at least on the defense 2 picks, and then I need Evans to have at least 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that's I wanted to ask you about that. You've seen some of the rankings. In your opinion, how many receivers would you say season were better? I got Jefferson, I got Devontae, I got Tyreek Hill, and that's about it. Those 3 I just mentioned, I would say, had overwhelming better season.
The Mike?
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Evans' season last year wasn't his best, so I would say Mike Evans last year was probably a top 10 wide receiver.
Yes, it was.
Because you got to take into account the fact that he got 3 of his touchdowns in one game, and he had 6.
Yeah.
That's really it. But It's difficult because the problem is it's negated by, and you can put this in inverted commas and you can put an asterisk on it. He had a Hall of Fame level quarterback thrown to him, even though he wasn't playing at a Hall of Fame level.
Mm-hmm.
He had a Hall of Fame quarterback thrown to him, and therefore his yardage and touchdown should be higher. And I can understand that because that's just the way it is. It is what it is. But I don't look at just 1 year because are we talking about the rankings as in the NFL 100?
Yes.
Okay, I'm okay with it because it was a Mike Evans down year. Like I can live with that. What I have a big problem with is Tristan Wirfs. There's no way that guy is the 89th best player in fucking football. Did you know that they have fucking his rival, his NFC South rival in Cam Jordan, as way higher.
And Cam Jordan didn't do shit.
Cam Jordan ain't got past him yet. Still ain't got past him.
No, and he hasn't done shit. And then statistically,
don't get me wrong, Cam Jordan is an elite player. He's obviously age has caught up with him. That's all I can say. Age has caught up with the dude, and he is not the player that he once was.
He had 8.5 sacks. That's good,
but he's not.
Yeah,
he's not 50th best. He's not the 50th best player.
No, and he's not elite anymore.
Tristan Wirfs is the 89th best player. That's just
that's blasphemous. He's not, and that's the thing. He is not elite anymore. He's still good. He's a respectable player of his.
You know why they do it? It's not just the fan base thing, because that's part of it. The other thing is, one position's flashy. You can block. You're a left tackle. You're a right tackle. Doesn't matter. You're an offensive lineman. You block. Throughout the entire season, you give it 2 sacks. Yeah, to 2 elite pass rushers. Like they were the top 5 in their position.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, a guy who's not even top 10 of his position, and I wouldn't say that Cameron Jordan is a top 10 defensive end or pass rusher in the league at all. I wouldn't. Somehow he's better than you because he makes splashier plays, because his end result is a sack. His end result is a forced fumble. His end result is a tackle for a loss, which is more sexy than I stopped him from hitting my quarterback. I stopped him from hitting my quarterback 100 times.
I agree.
And that's the problem.
And
also, not a sexy position.
Yeah, and personality plays a way too, because Cam Jordan he has more of an asshole Esquire to him. And Wirfs is a fun guy who just, I'm just here to play. He has a jolly soul, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But as you know, in the media, we like to really, hone in on the assholes, because the Cam Jordan stays talking shit and always throwing shade when it's like, dude, you were never the best of your position. You want to know his best season he ever had? And this is good, is 2019, 15.5 sacks. That's nice.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. And but he's had at least 4 seasons where he's had double-digit sacks. But he ain't.
So the double-digit sack thing to me is 1,000 yards for a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's had 5. I'm sorry, he's had 5, but
that's pretty good. What 2012?
No, he was in the 2011 draft.
2011 draft.
He was there with Von Miller and all them.
That's the year that we could have had him instead of Adrian Claiborne.
Well, yeah, that was actually a solid draft. It was Von Miller. It was Clay. It was
missed opportunities for the Bucs left and right.
And then Cam was there, but he ain't. But look, as much as he talks shit, it's like, Cam, you ain't no Simeon Rice. You ain't no Simeon Rice guy. You ain't Simeon. It's like Simeon, everybody knew who, like, he was the guy. He was the dude. It's like, Cam, you just a dude who talks shit and just happened to be on a team that, a lot of people felt sorry for. No disrespect. But
and everyone just expects them to do more. It's like someone said, one of my friends is a huge Denver fan, and he plays for me. He's one of our nose tackles. He also coaches himself, so we've always spent time together because he was my my assistant DC when I was DC, and he's been kind of like we kind of advise each other and stuff like that. He's head coach of the college team in my city, so he's head coach of so big shout to James Brennan. And he's a big Denver fan. And I said, well, how do you feel about the whole Sean Payton thing? And we had a chat about it, and I was like, see, I don't think you're going to be that great. You know what? Like, as in completely shocked. And I was like, you do know that Sean Payton was a head coach of a team in the NFC South with a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he still had 3 seasons where he had losing seasons.
A lot of people don't like to talk about that.
How many times did Bill Belichick lose in his division?
Shit, only once or twice.
And that was probably because Brady was injured.
Yep. Yeah. And the year Brady was injured, they still went 10-6.
This is my point. So he isn't as good. I said you will get better, because I generally do think Sean Payton's a great coach, but I don't think you're going to be as good as you might think you are. And he's like, yeah, I think you might be right. You are generally going to be better, and I think he'll get good stuff at it. I think it'll be good for Russell Wilson to be around a coach that is offensive-minded rather than defensive-minded, and I think that brings something great out of him. But the problem is you're buried in like a really tough division. Like, yeah, you're going to be better than the Raiders. That's how it looks, which means you're fighting for the 7th seed. And that's not impossible, but it's not easy to get.
It's not easy.
Anybody can get the 7th seed.
Yeah, it's too many other teams in the AFC that can come out and snatch that shit. That's what AFC is just literally.
Turn around right now and say, okay, the AFC West and the AFC East both have 3 teams that are more than capable of getting 3 playoff berths. There are only 7. And there are 4 division leaders. Someone's going to fuck up somewhere.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. And then at the end of the day, the NFC North is no slouch either, because it's still a haven for defensive football. You want to watch people get beat the shit out of, the closest you're going to get to is AFC North games.
Yeah. If you want some good old-fashioned, this is
going to be one team and that's it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. No other teams. We might get the second. We might get if we come second, we might be able to get no. No. You got to win it or you're out of it.
And it's going to take time. Sean Payton didn't just immediately come to the Saints and they were just this team to be reckoned with. No, it takes time. You have to get your pieces together. You have to get a team to gel. It takes time.
What if it's wrong? Does he just like give up? Because he gave up on the Saints. Like he was sat there one day, he had a bottle of bourbon in one hand and went, I got no quarterback. I got no money. I got nothing. Fuck it, I'm retiring.
Yeah, I mean,
he sat there like this with his wife. Maybe.
This shit ain't worth it.
She's like, what's my baby? And he's like, I got no money. I got no quarterback. I got nothing. You still got your health. Fuck it, I'll retire.
Yep. And then talk to little shit on TV. And then, oh, you know what? I
just go back. Have you ever seen him? Every time there's like a side angle, he's like this.
I'm not gonna. I'm trying my best to be polite, but Sean Payton, he just has a very.
He's a prick.
Face.
The nicest way of putting it. He's a fucking prick.
Yes, he has a shut your ass up kind of vibe that I get. Man, shut your ass up. That's what I get from Sean when I hear him talk. Shut your ass up, you hypocrite. Because he a hypocrite, especially that Bounty Gate shit. That's why I never forget him. He acts like he never knew. You're the fucking coach. You knew what was going on. You knew, and then you don't even have and then you have the nerve to get an attitude when the same energy is reciprocated back to your team. The same one bitching, they're being dirty. You motherfuckers are the dirty ones. You wrote the book on it. Bounty shit. So that's why poor Russell, because I overall like Russell, but Sean Payton, no. If the ship has to sink with them, so be it. If they go 2-15, I don't care. I'll be like, Russ, I'm sorry, but you had to fucking pay.
I think they'll do better than that, but I think they'll beat the Raiders.
Maybe, but that's not even guaranteed because we don't know.
No, it's not guaranteed. It's just the fact that the Raiders have lost a lot, and then
I'm saying if Brunson starts going to shit, Sean Payton might say, "Okay, I'm not dealing with another Jameis situation. I'll find somebody else," because that's what Sean Payton thinks. He's gonna be like, "Oh hell no!"
Because 1 year when we lost, they lost against us. You could see that picture of fucking that video bit of it was Drew Brees talking to James Winston. He's basically saying, "This is your team now."
Yep.
That lasted how long?
Yeah. That shit.
Devin White accidentally on purpose. I don't say he injured him. He just grabbed him and pulled him back. And I don't like that penalty. I hate horse collar should be the reason the horse collar tackle exists and why it's considered a bad thing is because you pull the back of the pads because they're V-necked, right? And you're pulling it into the Adam's apple. That's why you do it. So when you see someone grabbing like here and pulling him down, I don't have a problem with that. And I just that shit irritated me because everyone made out that Devin White was a dirty player, and I was like, "Nah, he grabbed on whatever he fucking could and dragged his ass."
It was a freak fucking accident because Devin White is freakishly strong. If you look at it, Jameis Winston's body, he didn't expect it. It's a freak accident. Shit happens. They just tried to make it.
Not often you get when you're running forward and someone grabs you with their arm. You're running forward with your legs are pumping, right? And they just pull you back.
Your body.
That's some strength.
Yeah, and he's strong. It's just they just wanted to make again. It's the narrative. They wanted to make it a bullshit. Oh well, they did that to get back at no.
Not in the heat of the battle. You don't think of things like that. I think if you've got a player lined up in your sights, as in he's running at you, then I think you're probably looking. I can put this dude on his ass and embarrass him a little bit.
Yeah, well,
like let's say you're going up against it's a running back. I could see it more because you can't guarantee he grabs hold of him. If he grabs hold of him, you know what I mean? Fair enough, but
I agree. The one that got me though, I'm not gonna lie, that I still to this day say fuck the Saints was the Chris Godwin hit. The way that he threw his body, I like that's why the Bucs players were pissed. I've seen it and I know, and I've been there. I've played before and I've made tackles. When you want to fuck somebody up in a bad way, Slick, you want to go for that knee and in a way where it's gonna flatten.
Hey, you can't run if you don't have knees.
Yeah, exactly. So the way he did it, he didn't have to do that. He could have literally just made a clean tackle and hit him under his feet and put him to the ground. That was a dirty ass hit, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that because they tried to do it to Gronk, and Gronk looked up and I think he was pissed because they tried to hit Gronk in the same fashion, but Gronk was too big. But I don't like. That's why nobody likes the fucking taint because they do things. And one of the other guys I used to hate, remember Jenkins?
Mm-hmm.
I stand Jenkins because he was that guy. And we all know this, and everybody all over the world had it. That guy who thinks he's a true bully until someone really steps up to him. He's that kind of guy where he's like, yeah, I can do this, and all it would take is somebody to just steal on him back. That's it. The Saints had a lot of those guys. Marshawn Lattimore is another one. He thinks because it's like, dude, you will get your ass whooped. If the league allowed Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore to go at it, I can say this probably 8 times out of 10, Evans is gonna dog him. Evans is too big for him. Anytime when Marshawn tries to get underneath him, Evans literally just goes and it just moves like that's the way. It's just that the refs sometimes don't allow. That's another frustrating thing for Evans when he's dominating. Then they want to throw some offensive interference shit, but it's like y'all let them let these smaller corners get all under and hug him. That's not fair either because when Carlton Davis does the shit, now you want to throw defensive interference.
Tell you what, one thing I would like someone to do if they could really be bothered to go back and look at the last since Brady was here. Go and have a look at how many yards Mike Evans was robbed off from passes that were thrown in his direction.
Yep.
Like genuinely catchable that flags were thrown on for DPI. Because I'm pretty sure his numbers shoot up.
Absolutely.
He was the most flagged player in football at one point.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine
There's
his
a
numbers?
reason you do it. I would say
Mhm.
that's the ultimate form of respect in a way, because it's almost like saying, I can't stop you, but I got to cheat to do it.
Right. Well, I'd
It is
rather.
the ultimate form of respect, right? I got to cheat to stop you.
Yep.
Like no one's doing that to a Justin Jefferson. No one's doing that to you. Do that. There's a reason they do it to Mike Evans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you imagine the yards he would have gotten in the Super Bowl when they did that pass interference? If he
Mm,
doesn't hit him, that might be a touchdown, to be honest. I agree with what you're saying. They just Evans will get the flowers, and I love that he came out and said the shit that he said because
yeah,
now he's getting more talkative. Now, if he backs it up, like honestly, I see him between 12 and 1300 yard touchdowns this season. I mean yards this season. Now, touchdowns, I see it shooting up, to be honest. I see him at least between 12 to 16.
I see him going. I see him a little bit less than that, but I think the floor is only 10, and I think the height is 14.
Ooh, I only say that because if I'm Canales, use him far more in the red zone than what they did last season. That's why I say that. And with a quarterback that can run,
Hey, before we know, we're both wrong. He gets 18.
oh shit, I love to be wrong in that instance. Shit. So I overall, I do like what I see. Are you going to be watching the game next Friday?
I will be a little bit late on it, but I will definitely get a chance to watch it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna.
I'll be watching it. It's just I've got work, so I think by the time I finish work, and I could probably sneak it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, but talking about Mike Evans, he has been reported in camp that he has said that he's running routes that he's never ran before. So that's hopefully we see a bit more of a route tree, and that could open up more yardage, more touchdowns, and what have you. So that's always good. I just want to talk a few other things about camp. CD3, good old Chris Godwin, Carlton Davis the third. He's got a bruised shoulder. They're going to keep him day to day. We're Trask's third practice. He'll practice tomorrow without a touchdown. Without a turnover? Can he make it 4? Rojo's been suspended. Former Buccaneer been suspended for 2 games for his peds. I don't think it's like he's done anything actually dodgy or anything. I think we automatically hear when we hear peds, we automatically think, oh, they must be juicing. I think I think it's probably he's taken some of the NFLPA does not like in particular, because we've had a lot of players get done with it. They could eat a fucking dodgy yogurt and they don't like it because it's got too much protein in it or some shit.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one for you. Devin Bush Sr. has been seen working with the backers. So Devin Bush Jr.'s father has been working with the backers. That's kind of cool. He was a bit of a legend in his day. And the Raiders released OJ Howard. Ran out of juice, I guess. And of
Yeah,
course, Zion McCullum is working both at corner and at the nickel position. So I think they're going to try and use him to replace SMB.
oh God. Well, let's hope he made a hell of a jump because last year I kept saying, "Get 27 the fuck off the field." I'm like, "What is this shit?" He looked so out of place. I hope he. I really hope
Hey,
he.
you know what it is? It's the second year. It's that game slows down.
I hope so. I hope so because
I remember he was not particularly great. If I remember correctly, the other guy, oh gosh, what's his name?
everyone else was better than him.
Like,
When
you saved me there, AJ. You saved me
I
there.
said, "What the heck?" I literally.
D Delaney. D Delaney
Yeah,
was bad.
yeah, I was sitting here like, who the fuck is 27? And they kept saying, get him. I said, I'm yelling the bar, get him off the field. He's gonna get us killed in these coverages. And what did he do? He was always the one who they picked on. They just licked their chops when he was on the field. Like, oh shit, 27's out here. Yo, go this way. I know he looked like he's gonna be there.
You have a wide receiver goes up against him. He comes back, goes to his positional coach. I'm kicking the shit out of my guy. He's not following me. He's not following me. Okay, he comes out. Let the offensive coordinator. You see, 27. He doesn't like it when you do this.
Exactly. I really hope that he can improve. Now, that is someone that if he takes a major jump, then I will be happy. I just want him to be average. I don't even want him to be great. Just be average. Be average because
Be
he's
it. Yeah.
remedial and shitty and just it was nothing good. I just want him to be average. If he is average, he will gain my full respect. I'll be like, yo, that's a hell of a pickup. So yeah, please 27. I don't even want to call him by his name. He's still 27. 27, just do your job and I will be fully grateful because last season you made me go black. And I'm like, damn, I'm glad I'm drunk already because if I wasn't, I couldn't watch him sober. That's how bad he was. But I know it's getting a little late over there where you are. I'm gonna go ahead and then wrap this up on my end because I got to get up early. But is there any other topics or anything else that you want to throw out there before we
What I got here? No, I think we covered everything. I was going to do, and I think we'll probably leave this coming up to the game. I was going to say, who do you think will be the starters, the projected starters of both sides of the ball? But I think we'll leave that till next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's definitely do that next week. Monday, I'm here, or Wednesday, yes. But guys,
Monday, I'm available Monday this week because we're
man.
done.
So
I don't
have
to be out or anything. I'm back to normal.
The British guy's gonna be on standby on Monday. So please, you guys, check us out. Bucs Report, the aftermath again, and also shout out to JT Olsen's show. He was nominated for one of the best shows. So man, you're doing a hell of a job, and we hope to get you back.
Brantley too. He was best columnist as well. So and the Bucs Report got one of the best Twitters going. So we are trying. And we're trying to get we're pumping this show too. So we're less than a year in the making. So we're going to keep this thing going, and hopefully that'll be us best podcast.
We might not be the best, but we the dopest, and that's all I need. That's all I need right now.
It's just too much swag on the screen. You know what I'm saying?
So guys, check us out Monday because that'll be the thing. I do like that. Thank you for that. The projector, because I got a lot of ideas. But also, guys, if you want. I'm going to be really getting back into things on my personal podcast. It's about Bucking Time, and I'll be sending stuff out. But you can always catch me here on Mondays or Wednesdays. And as usual, go Bucs.
Go Bucs, baby. I'll catch you soon, AJ. Okay, guys, that is the end of the show. My team has its final game against our rivals, cross city rivals, Birmingham Bulls versus the Sandwell Steelers. The last game didn't go too well. We do win. We are winning the history of that game. So as that game goes, I believe the rivalry is 5-1 in our favor. We don't want to pip another one. We want to go and get this one and go and get turn that 6-1. It's gonna be a tough game. The last time they played them, my defense balled out. My boys at pass defense only gave up 18 yards free pick, and we snagged 3 picks. So we had more interception yards than they had receiving yards. So hopefully it's more of the same, and you see me with a big smile on my face saying we won it. And not only that, my boys, my starters, my guys who are stepping up, the guys in the middle, the guys who are the impact players, the Stu Edwards of the world, the Ohio Chowdhury of the world, my 0 DB, my Jordans, Billies, Danes, all coming out and hopefully snagging some picks and going to win the bitch for me. So it's one last game, and then I can get back into Bucs football because I've been so preoccupied with Steelers football that I have not really looked at I've glanced at the Bucs. So my stuff that I've been doing on my socials will continue. And without provocation, and I get to hopefully, if we get a double against the Saints, I get to wind up the head coach of the Steelers because he's a huge Saints fan. So let's see if we can double up on those buggers again. All right, guys, Bucs on me, Bucs on 3, 1, 2, 3, go Bucs!